Thank you. Hello, thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad to be here with you. It's my first time, of course, in Kuala Lumpur. So, I'm Souhir from Tunisia. I'm a UX designer. Can you hear me? I see your faces. C'est bon? Yes, okay, great. So, I'm Souhir. Souhir Mkaouar. I'm a UX UI designer from Tunisia. I'm so happy to be with you here in Kuala Lumpur today. So I'm gonna share with you some best practices in soft skills and other UX design, let's say soft skills like empathy, communication, and flexibility, and how I'm building and designing from the margins and building UX culture across borders. So I'm gonna share with you step by step this. So as I said, I'm starting here my talk, and okay, so I'm originally from Tunisia. It's a small country in North Africa, where I don't know if you know Tunisia or not. It's a small country in North Africa. So here we have design, we have many other good stuffs like food, like culture, like sea. I really encourage you to visit Tunisia. Okay. Okay. So also, sorry, I can. Okay. So I'm sharing here. Okay, great. So, okay, our talk today, it's not about just methods or what's UX design or definition UX design. It's more than that. It's about people, because after like 5 years of experience in UX design, I figured out it's essential to design not for people, but with people. It's so important to design with people and interact with people, like in communication, having more empathy, having more flexibility, especially with clients and developers and other designers from other countries, which are not sharing the same culture, the same way of expressing themselves or others. So in Tunisia, we are starting to having UX design mindset, user-centric design mindset, having like workshops. I'm also a teacher at a university called Estet in Tunisia. So I'm passing my days like in having workshops, teaching junior designers, collaborating with clients from all around the world. So that's it, just me. I started my UX journey in 2021, and I founded I'm basically a freelancer, and I founded my company in 2024, I think March. It was just me, my laptop, and a big dream, just for having small steps. And it's called UXETRA. So, and also I'm a mentor and a teacher. So after this 5 years of experience, the conclusion finally was that flexibility, empathy, and communication was the perfect, let's say, kit for my journey. Okay, so, and explaining UX every day was the main basic thing I do. It was for clients, explaining that UX is very important in their journey to having a good project, to having good solution, good digital solutions, because we need UX in every small detail, because actually we are not just designing screens, pretty screens, very luxurious screens or very pretty colors. We are designing experiences, and experiences means to design emotions, and emotions are very, very difficult to understand, oh, sorry. Okay. Okay, sorry, so who I am, sorry for that. So freelancer, entrepreneur, mentor and teacher and founding of UX, etc. And that's me, basically you can see me. So the second step was explaining UX every day for clients, collaborators and students. I was saying that I was explaining UX for collaborators, for clients also, is that we are designing experiences with emotions, and it's so difficult to understand people's emotions because it's very subjective. And here we are designers, of course. Our job is to understand people, iterate with people, balance between business goals and user needs to finally deliver a very smooth solution and flexible digital solution. So the basic steps here. Yeah. So the golden rules about empathy is that empathy comes always first. So the steps for me, for my journey, it was first, we need to listen. So active listening is very important. We don't listen just to reply or give more ideas. The ideation phase, it's after the empathy phase. And after all, empathy it's not just a phase, it's a mindset for the whole process. Empathy is a mindset. That's the golden, let's say, phrase. So after listening, we need to observe, because observing is push you to understand, to reflect, to have more ideas, to maybe ask questions, to understand more, but we need really to concentrate on this step, on this phase before starting the whole project. Because it's really easy for us now to design interfaces on Figma or any other tool, especially with AI today we can have multiple different tools to design interfaces, but how we design interfaces is the key of success, of course. So the second part is observe, then we adapt, and the fourth phase is to respect the context. We need to always respect the context and to have always like a scope for a project. We need to understand the scope, what's in the scope and what's is out of the scope. We need to respect that after, of course, listening, observing, adapting and respecting the context. So, of course, in one project for me, of course, UX designer from Tunisia, I worked with multiple nationalities, international developers, international clients, international people in general. So here with empathy, I need to listen, to understand, because it's very, it's not, we don't share the same culture. So we need to listen to understand. So in one project, for example, I worked with developers in France and developers in Tunisia, others living in Algeria. So it was me switching between Tunisian dialect, then French, then even the tone. I watch my tone speaking to French people, I watch my tone speaking to Tunisian people, so that they can understand me and the communication goes smoothly. Understand? It's really important to have this kind of empathy, to understand your collaborators, to understand your clients, even people who are working with you. And of course, practicing empathy is about listening before replying. Of course, we are not just listening to people to reply. So we need to understand, listen to understand first, and then you can reply. So of course, you need to also have multiple workshops in the design process, especially, so that people feel heard and you can ask your questions freely, because it's way different between having just interaction via emails or via the phone or via calls. But when we are trying to have workshops and iterating, having brainstormings, understanding the project in any other phase, so it's important to have this kind of interactions directly or online. So, as I said, empathy is not just a phase, it's it's a whole mindset, and empathy is actually in UX or all in general. It's not only for users, it's not a step, sorry, it's not a phase, it's for developers, it's for designers, it's for clients, it's for any people or kind of people who are included in the process. So the next one, okay. How did I practice? So how to practice empathy in real project? As we said, it's always, I'm gonna give you some conclusions. So it's about listening before defending your idea or opinion. Ask why instead of assuming. It's very important to ask why. Use workshops to make clients feel heard and reflect their goals in UX terms they can understand. So that's it. Okay, so when we are, let's say, mastering empathy, the next layer, it's an invisible layer in the UX process. We are talking here about communication. So communication is very important when we are dealing with multiple cultures. So here is communication, when we have iteration, is the key between listening, translating user needs and business goals. So we must listening first. When we are listening, we are translating people's ideas or needs or what they are talking about to designs, to meaningful designs, and then we are here to align, to iterate, to always try to upgrade and give more to your project, to give success to your clients. So sometimes the difference between success and failure isn't just the interface, it's how we communicate about it. Or we are here. Okay. So once I was talking, for example, with my client, and I'm showing that the interface, he was giving comments and feedbacks about the interface, and I didn't take note. So it's so important for you to take note for every different detail, and then have what we call a PV or a conclusion, so that every detail matters, so that every detail is in an email or something like that. Is that listening, translating, designing, and aligning? It's very iterative, and we can go from one phase to another. Okay. Okay. So how to communicate finally across borders? You can adapt your tone, or you must, let's say, you should adapt your tone, because some cultures prefer like directness, direct tone, like just spell it, and others they search for polite forms, they search like for kindness, to communicate. So it's so important. Repeat key points in every, for example, end of meeting or something. You need to always repeat the key points to have only these kind of reminders. And document decision, of course, clearly. You need to document decision to have always this decision communicated and written somewhere. Of course, try to always have a common place where to put your files or notes, of course. And build trust through clarity, not perfection, because a good designer or a good IT, of course, person needs always to be clear with his clients and collaborators, so that we can attain our goals more smoothly, let's say. So, and then about flexibility. Mainly, flexibility across borders is the most, let's say, difficult part for me, because I was having like a midnight calls with people in Canada, developers in I don't know where in the world. So I need to be flexible because there's different time zones, different developers in different places. So it's, let's say it's a golden triangle. It's a triangle actually, but it's not, I don't know if you see it or not, but actually it's a triangle. So it's about mainly the trust. It's Here we have the designer, which is me, the client, and the user. Always the user is on the top. Me and the designer's team with the client, or the developer's team, or IT team in general with the client, are trying to building the best version of digital solution for the users. And we, as I said, we are not building or having digital solutions for the users, but with the users, with them. So different time zones or different mindsets, we are having the same goal. It's to create meaningful design to help people to use digital products easily, smoothly, fluently. So it's very important to have this kind of flexibility. And then this is me trying to have some balance between adaptation and UX integrity, because good communication or good flexibility, being flexible doesn't mean to say yes to everything or to accept any other, idea or something. We have to be flexible, but we don't need actually to leave our principles or change our mindset or our way of work. We need to be flexible, but with limits, and always have these limits somewhere. So you can adapt, of course, your process without betraying your principles, that's it. And most of my time wasn't actually spent on Figma or any other tool to design interfaces. It was spent on having communication sessions, workshops, having meaningful conversation, translating needs into meaning, and building trust pixel by pixel, because it's very important to build trust. And then all the rest, we can communicate about it and talk about it. And then, finally, it's a conclusion. What makes a cross-cultural collaboration work? It's different time zones, workflows, and approval speeds are normal, but always try to anticipate them instead of fighting them, because it's very important to try to have a good relationship with our clients and communicate fluently. So misunderstanding travel, of course, but we need to have this kind of, let's say, solving problems easily, if we have problems, of course, and always take time to understand before proposing ideas or proposing any other thing. So the lessons between the lines, finally, as a conclusion, I will share with you lessons I learned the hard way. So, empathy before expertise, of course, as I said. So understand before you solve. You need to understand, have a time to listen, understand, adapt, and always try to propose and iterate with your clients or collaborators. And then adapt your language, your tone, and not, of course, your principles. Your principles should be the same. And you try, of course, to discuss this with your clients or your collaborators in general, but always have same principles, let's say, but don't be that rude and sticking to your principles. Try to be flexible. So be flexible without losing your core, mainly. So educate through doing, show, don't preach. You need to show, but we don't need to preach to convince some people. And build relationship, not developers. It means to build relationship and trust with your clients. Design is the bridge between words. It's connect people, not just pixels. It's about trust and relationship. So design is also a diplomacy. Every choice communicate respect, culture, and care. And that's it for today, for my talk here with you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you. I'm here, of course, to answer your questions.
Yeah, we have time for questions if you have any. Yeah?
Hi.
I wanted to know more on the practical aspects from what you talked about, like how do you anticipate like the problems, the misunderstandings, what you actually do on a day-to-day basis to avoid it?
Yeah. Thank you so much for your interesting question. So mainly, it depends on people. That's why I mentioned soft skills and communication about that, because you need, when you are having a first meeting with the client, for example, you need to ask all your questions. Once you are with the client, you need to ask many questions, and even prepare your questions the night before. So after getting all the answers, you need always to check with the client a second time. So you don't have to face any misunderstanding or something. So you need to check with them and always remind them, is that true that da, 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 is that true da, 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 da? And always try to have a written version that you send via mail, because people can always forget about something, or you can have this kind of misunderstanding. Of course, if your client especially is not an IT expert or an IT person who doesn't understand this kind of stuff, always try to clarify your deliverables. Because sometimes once you have any kind of project, people may... for example, I had a client who thinks that me delivering the final website, but my phase is just for UX design, UI design, and then we need developers to integrate that. So the client thought that I'm the person in charge for the whole process. So I need to clarify that I'm just a designer. I'm give you a prototype about your digital solutions to iterate, to test, to do some stuff with the design process, and then finally you have to deliver that to the developers and to continue the process. So I need here it's obvious for me, but it's not always obvious for people. That's why I need to always communicate and always to educate people. It's very important to educate people and have some points written, always try to clarify, and always you will have some little misunderstandings. So be careful about that. It's very important, especially for the freelancers, because when you are an agency, you can manage that. But when you're alone, it's a bit difficult for to manage that. Thank you for. Thank you. Hello.
You must put the limits.
Yeah.
And for the limits, what are? And it is, for example, to give your idea to the client for bring the project more useful for the user or other things.
Okay, thank you for your question. Actually, about the limits, it's when you are a freelancer. I had that phenomenon, let's say. So when you are a freelancer, you are trying always to accept all kind of projects, all kind of ideas, always yes. Okay, so after a moment, you will automatically figure out that you are going in the wrong path because you are having a burden. So you need to put limits. So when we are talking about putting limits, actually it's about having principles in the process, in the iteration. Of course, you need, when you are offering something, you need to say to your client, for example, that you have 3 iterations for one prototype or for one interface, or you see. So you need always to have limits. About ideation phase, some clients, for example, can get 1 month for ideation phase. You can always have these kind of discussions with your clients to always put limits, not just because you are a freelancer and you don't have other resources to get money to live. That means that you are always accepting any kind of, people saying things to you. So you need to put limits about that. It's difficult. It's always difficult to say no. It's difficult to say, no, I don't work that way. You need to go for communication. You need to communicate your no politely and smoothly. You say no politely and you know to have to say no. Yeah. Thank you.
Last one. Thank you so much for this interesting presentation. But sometimes I saw that you put understanding before expertise. But I think that expertise has a big role
Of course.
for making a good product. So, for example, for you as 5 years of expertise and design, etc. So, for example, when you are working with someone not from the IT, or working with a client from not the IT,
Yeah.
I think that expertise will make a good and a big role in that in production of that project. So I think that expertise might become before understanding.
Of course. Of course, yeah. Thank you for your, let's say, opinion or sharing your idea. What I meant actually is that some people or some designers especially goes for, I don't know, multiple trainings, sessions and multiple, I don't know, like YouTube videos searching for expertise. But understanding before expertise means that we need to understand before showing our skills like an expert. Okay, it's important to have expertise, of course. It's very important to have expertise. That's the core thing, finally. But we need to understand before trying to show off and say, "I'm a good designer. I'm gonna show you some animations here. I'm gonna show you some, just to show off and show off your skills as a designer. You need to understand the main needs before showing the expertise. You see now yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Souhir. Let's get a round of applause for Souhir, please.
Thank you so much.